Hello. Have you seen the child? We know you know. People's elbow. This is the way to do equivalent fractions. Welcome to Mandalore. Wait, this is a girl's mask. This is Sebian's mask. That's not even Mando's. You know you don't have a house unless you have the child. Let's get to math. Enough of this fun and silly games. We've wasted a minute. Okay, lesson 4.2. Extending on equivalent ratios. Next week we'll be working on more, well, maybe not next week. After Halloween. Halloween already happened. Thanksgiving. We'll fall into more real world ratios. Or we might move on and skip it. I haven't decided yet. So many different factors. Let's go ahead and get going. Okay, so express the ratio in simplest form. I want you to go ahead and pause well, you can't pause 1, 2, and 3. Pause the video real quick and see if you can get 1, 2, and 3 on your own. Okay, hopefully you did it. Remember when we are simplifying that you can either do 2, 3. Why does it do that all of a sudden now? Or 5. Weird. So, and sometimes 7. Maybe it just allows me to fix it. I don't know if you guys see that. So when we look at this, they're both even. I'm going to start off with the most basic ones, and we'll kind of go from there. So if I divide these both by 2, because they're both even, I would get 18, and I'd get 10, right? If we split it again, because again, they're still even, and I know there are still some factors in there, so I can still keep taking stuff out of it. So half of 18 is 9, and half of 10 is 5. So then I would be done. Text box. I've been trying to get that to work for how long? And now it's starting to work. Weird. Sorry. Different features. Okay, so let's do number 2. Let's try something a little bit harder this time and not just go with 2, 3, 5, and 7. Sometimes I want you to think about what factors do they have. Sometimes what is the greatest common factor that they share. On 24, since it's small, you should be able to say like 2, yeah, because they're both even. 3, yes, 3 doesn't go to 64 because 6 plus 4 is 10. I could do 6, no, because 66 would be the next one. 8 times 8 is 64, and 8 times 3 is 24. There we go. Okay, so if I divide this by 8, I get 3. And if I divide 64 by 8, I get 8. Gives me all my different choices. Huh, cool. I don't know what I did, but all of a sudden, maybe I complained enough and like the internet's like heard me. Said, Google, you need to pass this on to Apple. This teacher's having a hard time. Perfect. I love this one because I hope right away that you know that 45 is half of 90. So for every 45, there's 2 more. Perfect. Okay. So on this one, remember, so we're going feet to yards. So how do we go from feet to yards? Well, I can't go yard to feet, but I can go feet to yard. There are 3 feet in a yard. So I'm going to multiply this by 3, if it'll let me, times 3. 9 times 3 would be, so that would be 27 feet. And this would stay feet because it's still 9. So again, we could simplify this because 9 goes into 9 once, and 9 goes into 27 3 times. So basically, for every 1 foot, there's 3 feet. And that's kind of like that ratio. Okay, number 5. So weeks to days. Days and weeks. Can you put a week in a day? No, but you can put a day in a week. How many days are in a week? Well, that would be 7. I hope you know that. So we're gonna multiply by 7. 7 times 2. I always remember we can hide the 0. 7 times 2 is 14, and then bring that 0 back. It's powers of 10. Okay, and then we still have 14 days. So 20 weeks is 114 to 14 days. I hope you can see that 14 and 14 is the same, right? So we could say that that would be, I'm going to hide it way over here, right? And then we can get rid of that, right? Yeah, you divide both by 14, right? So if I divide 14 by 14, I get 1. And if I divide 140 by 14, I get 10. So for every 10 days, there's 1 day, whatever that story would be. It'd be cool. It's like maybe leave COVID. For every 10 days of quarantine, you get 1 day of freedom. I don't know. That wouldn't make sense. All right, ounces, pints. That's a hard one. Okay, you got 16 ounces. I'd like you to try to get that one on your own. Let's check our work. Okay, number 1, 9 to 5, 1 to 2, 10 to 1, 9 to 5, 1 to 2. Oh, that was number 2. And 3 to 8. I was like, man, did Mr. Runyan get some wrong? Not surprised because sometimes I do. And then number 4 would be 3 to 1. Good job. And 10 to 1 for 5. Yeah, we know we got that one. And 6 will end up being 1 to 4. But I want to make sure that you can do that. Remember, there's 16 ounces in 1 pint. Okay. So state whether the each pair of ratios are equivalent. So just yes or no. Go ahead and try to solve those. Pause and solve. Okay, well, if we look at it, so we're saying that something is 13 to 15, and then it's also then 30 to 26. So does 13 go into 30? No. Does 15 go into 26? No. But I do see that if we flip them, 13 goes into 26 and 15 goes into 30. But I always say they are not equivalent, solely based on the order that they're in. I wonder what they say. Yeah, number 7 is no. And then number 8 would be, well, 54. 6 goes into 18 3 times. Remember, this is what we worked on in math. All right, that's a really terrible. There we go. It's still terrible, but that's a semicolon. Okay, so 18 divided by 6 is 3. So then how many times does 54 go into it? Well, I know 18 plus 18 is 36. And then 10 plus 36 would be 46. And then 6 plus 8 would be 54. So again, that would be a 3, right? So how do you get, well, divide 54 by 3 and you get 18. So 18 times 3. So let's check our work. Is it equivalent? I would say the answer is yes. I think that's what it was wanting us to know. Okay. Let's check it. Yep, 7 was no, and 8 was yes. Okay, I'm only going to do a few of these, so find the missing term of each pair of equivalent ratios. So let's do number 9 real quick, and then I'll do number 10, and then I'll let you guys get to it. Okay, so if we have 9 to 13 equals 27 to what? Well, again, how does 9 turn into 17? That's our question. Well, 9 times 3. So what you do to one side, you do to the other. So that's times 3. So this would be times 3. So 13 times 3 would be, well, 39. Good job. Okay. And then let's go ahead and do a different one. Let's do number 16 here just because it is a little bit harder. So sometimes it's not going to be as easy as this one. You might actually have to bring it down to its smallest form like we did on math that one day. Okay, so we're going to divide each, I would say by 5, right? I know that, man, that's really hard. But I want to teach you a fun way to do this. So just split them into things that you know. Like I know 90 is 50 and 40. 5 goes into 50 10 times. Okay. And 5 goes into 40 8 times. So I would say that that would be 18. There you go. So that was times 5. Right? So 18 times 5 is 90. Perfect. Okay, and then, so what you do to one side, you would do to the other. However, I don't think that's actually what we want to do here because we're trying to break it down to its smallest form. So if I divide that by 5, I need to divide this side by 5. So again, let's just do 50 and 15. I'm taking 50 out, and I have 15 left. So 50 divided by 10, or 50 divided by 10, 50 divided by 5 is 10. There's 15 left, which would be 3. So that would be 13. Well, luckily for us, can it get any smaller than 13 and 18? The answer is no. So the answer would be 13 to 18. Let's check our work. Okay, and hopefully you can pause it real quick, do the work, or just come back and check, or I'll put the answers on as well later. So number 16 was 13. Okay, and there's the rest. All right, you should be able to get some of these done. Let's get to number 19. So if the ratio of the length of the height of the American flag is 3 to 2, okay, we got to figure it out. Well, how do we get to 24 from 2? Well, we multiply it by 12. So you multiply that by 12, multiply that by 12, you get 36. Right? So for every 3 of these, there's 2 of these. So if we divide this by 3, you'd get, what would you get? Yeah, exactly. Okay. And then what about this one? So for every 2 of these, there's 3 of these. Okay. Did I freeze? Or am I just really good ventriloquist? I guess so. Oh, there, I'm back. Peekaboo. Okay, so let's look at this real quick. Okay, so we knew it was 60, so that's 3. This is 2. So we could divide this by 3, and you end up getting 20. So we were getting 60. I'm just going to show you a quick picture. I should just copy the 6's. We have 60, right? And that we're going to divide into 3 parts. So if we divide that by 3, we get 20, which means that each of these is 20. So for 3 of them is 60, for 2 of them would be 40. Okay, and sometimes that's probably the best way to do a problem like this, especially when you know the fraction. So the same thing over here. Okay, so if we know 52, well, we know that this is 52, right? So we could divide 52 by 2. And you can either do it in your head or don't be afraid to do it like this. 5 goes into 2. Well, 2 goes into 5. 5 can't go into 2. Well, it can. 2 goes into 5 twice. Okay, you get a 4. Oops. Ran out of room. There you go. Anyways, and you get a 1 left, right? So then you bring your 2. How many times does 2 go into 12? The answer is 6. So your answer is 26. Another way that I really like to do that is you can just go into a number that you know, right? Like 40. Half of 40 is 20 and 20. There's 12 left. Well, half of 12 is 6, so 26. Lots of fun ways to do math. So each of these equals 26. So 26 times 3 would equal all of them. Man, really still on the struggle bus. I thought I was going to do good. So I'm going to split this into 20 and 6. 20 times 3 is 60. Okay, and 6 times 3 is 18. So 60 plus 18 is, the whole thing would equal 78. Okay, I want you to go ahead and do this in the last one. So again, if we know that this whole part basically, because it's saying that, remember, this is a ratio of 3 to 2, so we could show 3, right? If this whole thing equals 96, well, we'll get one part. If you can find one part, you can find 2 parts, okay? So if the length of the American flag is 1.8 yards, find the height. Okay, well, if the ratio of the length to the height, length to height, length to height. So again, if this is the length, right, length to height, so 1.8 to something. So we know again that this is 1.8, right? So 1.8 divided by 3 would end up being 6/10, right? It's basically 18 divided by 3. And then you bring back your decimal. So there are 6/10, 6/10, 6/10. So that we need 2 of them. So that would end up being 1.2. Oops, wrong way. So 0.6 plus 0.6 would be 12. 0.12, but you can't have 0.12. You got to carry that 1 back over. Okay. Nicole uses 5 ounces of mushrooms, 2 ounces of butter, and 1/4 a pint of cream to make mushroom soup. I do love me some mushroom soup. Find the ratio of the number of ounces of mushrooms to the number of ounces of butter to the number of ounces of cream. Okay, you should be able to get that pretty easy, right? In order to do that, though, they all have to be the same. 5 ounces, 2 ounces, 1/4 of a pint. Remember up here on this question, we said that there is a relationship of 16 ounces in 1 pint. So one good way to do that is 1/4 of 16, right? So 1/4 of means to multiply. That's why I love using that word of. It's always going to tell you what to do, right? So multiply across. 16 divided by 4 is 4 ounces. So you just have 5 to 2 to 4. Okay. So if Nicole uses 15 ounces of mushrooms, she tripled it. How many pints of cream does she use? Well, that would be still 1. I mean, if she's tripling that recipe, right? 5 goes to 15 times 3, right? So we need 3 as many mushrooms and 3 as many pints. So that would be 1/4, 2/4, 3/4. If Nicole uses 1 pint of cream, how many ounces of butter does she use? Wow. So that's 4, right? Because a pint would be all 4 of them. So, and if our whole is telling us that there's 4, so that would mean we're going to use 4 of these. So if we're using 4 quarters, how much butter will you use? Well, 4 butters too, right? 4 times 2 would be 8 ounces. Okay, really kind of fun math, honestly. I think you should be able to get 21 on your own. So go ahead and do that, and then I will throw the answer key. That's not the answer key. Up, and you can check the rest of your work. 5 to 2 to 4. Did we say 5 to 2 to 4? Yeah, we did. No. Yes, we did. Just the 4 got messed up. Huh, cool. All right, that's it. Another Screencast edition, 2020 edition. We'll see you guys later.